Welcome back to another episode of the Towel Boy, where we give you the cleanest takes in sports. Today, is Sunday, June 22nd. We're just a couple hours before the NBA Finals. The KD trade just happened, so I had to re-record everything because it changed a little bit of everything I've done. Um, but I'm really excited. This is a very fun episode for me. It's my final mock draft. We have a couple trades going into everything. And the first thing that I want to talk about is this big three-team trade that I did. Um, for the most part, I feel like these trades are realistic. I feel like every selection we made is pretty realistic. At least the fits are pretty good. I'll try to explain everything a little bit more in depth. But of course, not everything's gonna be perfect. But here for this three-team trade, I think the win or lose tonight, I think the Thunder could have won the finals in 5 games if they had Cam Johnson, a good shooter in the forward position. We saw that their three-point shooting was definitely a hindrance for them in this playoff run. So I think adding Cam Johnson, win or lose, is going to be a huge move for the Thunder here. So they're going to add Cam Johnson from the Nets. They're going to swap and give the 15th pick to the Nets and get in return the 26th overall pick. They're also going to send Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins over to the Nets. Nets get a couple good role players there, move up in the draft, get off Cam Johnson, capitalize off his really good year. Could maybe get more draft capital than that, than just the 15th pick. I think this is a pretty good foundation for the Thunder and the Nets. And then the Lakers, they're going to get their rim running big, right? Their lob threat, Nick Claxton with LeBron and Luca. They're going to get a second round pick, but they're going to also send over Rui Hachimura and a good young player, Dalton Connect, with swap in 2026 first round and 2030 first round. So the Nets going to get the best of these swaps, the best pick out of either of those two teams there. Um, and I think that is at least a good foundation. I don't know, there probably be more added on, but I think that's a good foundation to start. So I just want to let you know that it's one of the trades, probably the biggest trade that we're going to go over today. The Nets are involved in another trade, but without further ado, we're going to get to today's final mock draft. Like I said, I think all of these picks make sense. I think that the fits are good. Obviously, not everything will be perfect, but uh, for the most part, everything is going to be makes a lot of sense, I think, for this video. But without further ado, let's get into it. We got number one, Cooper Flag going to the Dallas Mavericks. This is pretty much a no-brainer. The best player in this class. He's going to fit well with AD and Kyrie, the pieces they already have there, as well as being the guy for the future. The Mavs lucked out after trading Luca to get the number one pick, jumped up like 10 spots. He's going to fit in well. They could have championship aspirations 2026, as well as they have a franchise cornerstone moving forward with Cooper Flag. So that is going to be the number one pick here is Cooper Flag. And then number two, the Spurs, they got Dylan Harper. Um, Everybody says it. The fit is kind of clunky with Fox and Castle, three guards with good size. They can't really shoot it or more downhill scorers. But I think Harper's shooting potential is there, and I think he's just the best player available. So I think the Spurs are going to go best player available and go ahead and take Dylan Harper right there. And then another trade I had the third overall pick for the Philadelphia 76ers. They're going to trade their number 8 overall pick and the number 19 overall pick. The Nets are going to give that to Philadelphia. So the Nets receive number 3, and the Philadelphia gets number 8 and number 19. And I think there's a lot of smoke right now that Ace Bailey's kind of ruining his draft stock a little bit. There's flaws to him as a prospect, and then refusing to interview and refusing to work out for certain teams. But I think the Nets, they want to take a swing, start building some franchise cornerstones. So they're going to move up, take Ace Bailey with a third overall pick. Very high ceiling, high upside player that can make shots, be a good weak side defender. I think he can be a really good defender. I think Jordi Fernandez would be a great coach to kind of help him pursue this, kind of help build Ace Bailey and reach his potential. So I think this is a really good pick for Brooklyn. Traded away Cam Johnson, created some space for Ace Bailey here. I think this is a really fun pick. And then number four is one of my favorite fits in the whole class. VJ Edgecombe is going to be a great fit for Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets take VJ Edgecombe number four. Great connective piece between LaMelo, Brandon Miller. Take some pressure off of those two scoring wise, but mainly he's going to be a really good wing defender, right? They need some good, just hustle good wing defenders. They don't have a whole lot of high IQ guys. I think VJ Edgecombe can be that. So that is a really good pick there for Charlotte. The number five, I have the Utah Jazz taking Trey Johnson. I think the fit is a little bit clunky, with Collier and George being some pieces that you don't want to give up on yet. But I think Trey Johnson is the best player available, probably at this point. Um, I think he can be a really good scorer in this league, and someone that you can build around. I think he's a better building block than either Collier or Keontae George. So I think Jazz are going to take who they think is going to give them the highest ceiling further down the road and take Trey Johnson. Number six, the Washington Wizards are up. They take the Duke center, Kaman Maluach. I think this could be a really, really fun um, double big lineup moving down the line. I think Washington is building something really fun. I think Jordan Poole probably will be traded, but I think he's a little underrated. He's shown flashes with Warriors that he could be on a winning team. Um, he showed upside. He at least better as a passer this year. But then you've got guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George. I think Coulibaly, Sarr, and Maluach later down the line could be a defensive trio that could wreak havoc on the league. So I think that would be really fun. I think Sar and Maluach could be a really fun duo. Maluach eventually would have let Sar play more of the power forward position, kind of roam on the perimeter, which I think is what he fits best offensively. And then the Twin Towers, kind of with Maluach and Sar in the paint, would be very fun to watch. Teams would have a very tough time scoring, I think. So the Washington Wizards, number six, take Kaman Maluach. Then next pick, number seven. The New Orleans Pelicans take Colin Knippel out of Duke, another back-to-back Duke pick. I think he just fits in with pretty much every single team. He's a great connective piece. The best shooter in this draft class, underrated defender, underrated playmaker. He adds spacing to the Pelicans. They needed some spacing on the offensive end. And I think when DeJounte Murray is out, he's going to add some threat as a ball handler. I think you can see him initiate the offense. He can go in, create plays, start their sets. I think he's going to be a really good floor spacer at the two or three around Zion, around Trey Murphy, with guys like Herb Jones out there. So you can see some variation with maybe CJ starting at the point, then Colin at the two while DeJounte is out, and then Colin going to the bench or starting at the three with DeJounte and CJ. I think he adds some lineup versatility and much needed floor spacing for the Pelicans. So number seven, Pelicans take Colin Knippel. And then I really like this next pick. The 76ers traded down with Brooklyn. They got the number eight pick. And then they take Noah Essengate here with the number eight overall pick. Um, One of the youngest players in this draft class. He has shown a lot playing overseas. I think he's the best slasher in this class. He's such a good athlete. 6'11". I know his measurements came in way bigger than expected. 6'11", long wingspan, moves fluidly. It's a small forward or power forward position. I think his shot has shown progress, so that could be a good thing. But playing off of guys like Maxey, McCain, and Embiid, who are really elite scorers. Him just playing that Aaron Gordon, that Obi Toppin role, I think he could be an elite player at that, doing just the little stuff, rebounding, defending. Like I said before, I think Jaden McDaniels is a really good comp for him. Jaden McDaniels, an Obi Toppin type player, just a role player that plays great defense, knows the role on offense, and does what they need to do. I think he's a really great fit in Philly. So I think number eight, I really like Noah Essengate to the Philadelphia 76ers. Then at number nine, the Raptors get a center. They need some front court big man depth. Derek Queen offers a lot of skill on the offensive end. He's really good with the ball in his hands, which could be a little tricky with, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett. But you could also argue that that takes a lot of pressure off of him with a bunch of guys that are good with the ball in their hands. He doesn't need to be the guy right away, right? He's definitely got to take some steps defensively, but surrounding him with that length with Scotty, with Ingram, I think this would be a good place for him to be able to develop all the tools he needs to be a successful NBA player. I think he could be a Nas Reed type. I think it'd be really fun pairing with Scotty Barnes down the line with those two as like the front court of Toronto. So number nine, Toronto takes Derek Queen. And then the KD trade just happened, and I was really stuck here. I had the Phoenix Suns taking Jeremiah Fears. They don't really need another guard, right? They got Devin Booker, Jalen Green. Not a great fit. Neither one's a pure point guard. They still have Bradley Beal. They don't have a lot of wing depth or front court depth. But I decided to go Jeremiah Fears because I think that he's the best player available. And I didn't love any of the other fits at this position. I think Jeremiah Fears could be the point guard of the future. I'm not sure. Um, how long Jalen Green will be around there until he plays out this contract. We'll see how that works. Maybe it works out great, and they have a bunch of studs with him, Booker, and Fears. But right now, I'm taking Fears. He's going to be probably the backup point guard at this point. Um, who knows how many minutes he gets, but I think he can contribute for the Suns. And I think at this point, they take the best player available. So at 10, Phoenix Suns take Jeremiah Fears. Then at 11, the Portland Trailblazers, they're taking Carter Bryant, the forward wing out of Arizona. Uh, Only 19 years old. I think he offers a lot of good matchup pairing with Tumani Kamara and Deni Avdija as those small forward, power forward positions. Uh, he shows promise as a shooter. I think he has a lot of defensive versatility. I think he fits into their timeline. I think it'd be really fun to watch him build around the pieces with Scoot Henderson, Deni Avdija, Donovan Clingan, Tumani Kamara, as I mentioned, Shaden Sharp. I think this will be some really fun building blocks for Portland, and they could maybe be a sneaky play-in team if they continue to build and progress off of the last season. So at number 11, Portland Trail Blazers take Carter Bryant. Then at number 12, I have the Chicago Bulls. They get in their point guard of the future. Signs are pointing towards them signing Josh Giddey, maybe letting Kobe White walk. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But I think Yaki Jonas has a very high ceiling, and the Bulls are going to jump on that, take the high ceiling of Yaki Jonas, 6'6", um, really good passer, fun playmaker, high turnover rate, of course. That's the biggest knock on him in Illinois. But I think at the NBA level, so they'll be able to read the game a little bit better than his Illini teammates. Um, and I think the shooting touch there's more promise than what the numbers showed at Illinois. So I think the Bulls kind of get their Lonzo replacement, right? A little taller playmaking point guard here. I think he's got a really good future, and I think Chicago will have their point guard for the next couple of years to either pair or replace Josh Giddey. 12, Kasparis Jakuchonis to the Chicago Bulls. And then at 13, I have Atlanta. This is one of my favorite picks. They got Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. I really think this is an awesome fit with them. They can really pair him with Jalen Johnson, Zachary Reese-Lachey, that wing trio, that really fun, versatile, long arms, uh, good defenders that can help Trey Young on the defensive end. Murray Boyles can play the four, maybe small ball five on offense. He's got a long ways to go there, but I think this fit is really, really fun with Atlanta. He's not going to be asked to do too much, obviously, with Trey Young being the guy. Jalen Johnson, Reese Lachey going to get more touches. So I think it's going to allow him to develop his offensive game while still being the elite defensive anchor that he is kind of projected to be in this draft class. So 13, the Atlanta Hawks are taking Colin Murray Boyles. Then at 14, the Spurs, they take Cedric Coward. They need some wing help, I think, and I think they need a lot of shooting. At this point, uh, they've got their guards set up. They could maybe go for a center here, but I like Cedric Coward, right? The long wingspan. He's got decent shooting numbers. He's got shooting potential. I think that he's going to add some versatility to their lineups, be able to play the two, three, maybe the four with his wingspan, right? He's going to go out there, give the Spurs some much more needed defense, some shooting. I think Cedric Coward's a pretty good fit in San Antonio. So San Antonio takes the Cedric Coward out of Washington State for the 14th overall pick. Then at 15, Brooklyn already got their guy with Ace Bailey, number three, traded up to get him. Then at 15, I think they get good value getting their point guard of the future with Jace Richardson, the freshman out of Michigan State. Richardson can play both guard positions. I think he shows a lot of promise to be a self-creating scorer, and I think Ace and Jace would be a fun duo. Right, Ace and Jace, great building blocks for the future. Jordy Fernandez, I think, would have a lot of fun with that. Jace plays a lot bigger than his anthro measurements come in. I think he's got work to do on the defensive end. He's got work to do as a playmaker, but I think this is a right system for him to kind of learn under Fernandez. I think the GM, Sean Marks, has got a good vision, and I really believe that Brooklyn's going to start building some pieces for the next couple of years down the line. They might be a really good team in about 3 or 4 years if they hit this draft correctly. So, 15, the Brooklyn Nets select Jace Richardson to pair with Ace Bailey. Then at 16, the Memphis Grizzlies select Neat Clifford out of Colorado State. Neat can play the two through four, I really think. He adds a lot of versatility on the wing for the Grizzlies who need some shooting. They need some defensive minded guys. Neat can just is a NBA ready plug and play. I think the Grizzlies know they need to add stuff to win, to make some win now moves, I think Neek is a win now draft pick here. So he's going to go and do whatever the Grizzlies need. I think this is a really good pick, a really good fit. I think one of the best, most seamless fits in this draft class. Memphis Grizzlies, number 16 overall, taking Neek Clifford out of Colorado State. Then at number 17, the Minnesota Timberwolves are on the clock. I have them taking Nolan Traore. Nolan Traore has kind of had an up and down year playing overseas in France, but he's picked it up as of late. He's shown better shooting touch. I think he's one of the best downhill drivers and scorers as in this point guard class. Outside of Anthony Edwards, I don't have a lot of confidence in any of the pure ball handlers in Minnesota. So I think they need to prioritize ball handling. Mike Conley showed obvious signs of regression. Uh, who knows if Rob Dillingham is going to be quite ready? And even if he is, it's never bad to have as many ball handlers as you can have, right? We see that in the playoffs all the time, having multiple ball handlers, having multiple people that can open up shots for Anthony Edwards is going to be a good thing. So Nolan Traore, number 17, going to Minnesota. Then number 18, the Wizards are on the clock with their earlier selection. They went Kaman Maluach. With this pick, I have them going Jaeger Dimon out of BYU, the point guard. He's a super raw prospect, but I believe that he might be the best passer in this class. And they have the ability to take in a swing on a high upside player. So he's going to be, um, could hopefully be the initiator for the future, right? With the guys like I mentioned before, he could be the point guard getting the play started. It could be a really fun building piece if he hits his ceiling. And they're able to swing and miss, I think. So I think with this pick, the high risk, high reward player right here with Jaeger Dimon to Washington. And then I think this draft class with that trade that the Philadelphia 76ers made, they're on the clock with number 19. They're really happy with how this turned out for them. Earlier, they got Noah Essengate, and then now they have their Embiid replacement one day, right? Who knows what Embiid's health is, and even if he's able to play in a couple of years, he's going to be mid 30s. So his career is slowly coming to an end. Hopefully, we get to see a couple more MVP type caliber seasons, full health. But Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown is going to be their pick here at number 19. Uh, Very young center. He's a freshman this year. A lot of pick and roll promise, I think, on the offensive end. He's a big dude, about 6'10", 6'11", 250 pounds. He's got really good shot blocking potential. I think he moves very, very good. And I think he's going to be a really good pick to pair with Noah Essengate. And I think they're pieces that can help win now, right? They got Maxey, McCain, Paul George. Hopefully, will have a better year. Embiid will be healthy. Justin Edwards showed a lot of good signs. Um, Dembona maybe has some potential. Thomas Sorber, I really like what they can still do. Building for the future with Essengate and Sorber, but still trying to win now, right? But 19, Philadelphia takes Thomas Sorber. At 20, we have Asa Newell uh, going to the Miami Heat. I think he fits the Heat culture. I'm a lot higher on Newell than it seems like the league is, but I think he could play the four or the five, create a really, really fun front court with Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware. He's going to be a good lob threat. I think he's going to be a good defender. He showed a lot of touch, I think, in the mid range with his floater and his shot mechanics. I don't think are too bad. I think he can be a respectable shooter in the league one day. So at 20, we have the Miami Heat taking the Georgia freshman Asa Newell. And then at 21, we have the Utah Jazz. I have them taking Johan Berenger, who's playing in Croatia, the French center. I think he's a very young prospect, very raw prospect, a lot of growing up in the game to do, but I think that he's got a lot of potential, right? Their front court, who knows what happens with John Collins or Larry Markkinen, but I think even if they're still around, you got Filipowski, you've got Walker Kessler, but you're not sure those are going to be the guys, right? They have the ability to take a swing here because they have a lot of quantity on their roster. I'm not sure what the quality is like. So at this point, there was nobody I felt like was a sure pick for them. So they're going to go with another upside pick who might need some development, but they have potential to allow players to develop. So at 21, the Jazz take Johan Berenger. And then at 22, we have Rasheer Fleming going to the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are pairing him with Colin Murray Boyles in this draft class. They're continuing to just add guys with long wingspans, versatility on the defensive end that can help Trey Young. Rasheer Fleming should hopefully add spacing. He shot the ball at a very good level this last year. Only question marks were about the skill level he was playing at, but I think that at 22, this is good value for Atlanta, who's able to get another forward that can kind of pair with what they've been doing so far recently. And at 23, I have the New Orleans Pelicans taking another guard, taking Ben Serif. Um, he's playing in the same playoffs as Noah Essengay, is considered a way lower valued pick and prospect, but Ben Serif has been outperforming Essengay by far. I think he's a very good guard. I think he's going to stick around in this league in a long time. Very crafty ball handler, can get into the middle of the paint on the pick and roll, can create shots for other players, can create shots for himself. And I think the Pelicans need backcourt help. With DeJounte out, are you going to start CJ at the point guard? Are you going to start Jose Alvarado? Um, if not, I think Ben Seraf's going to add some good depth to play the one, the two off the bench, give some responsibility to him to take it off the load of Alvarado, CJ, DeJounte when he's back. And then so the Pelicans are kind of double dipping in guards here with Colin Knippel and Ben Seraf. So at 23, Ben Seraf going to New Orleans. Then at 24, the OKC Thunder, they're taking Adu Thiero. Like I mentioned earlier with the trade, they got rid of Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. They added Cam Johnson, but they're kind of replacing some of that wing depth that they got rid of with Thiero here. Maybe the best athlete in this class on the wing. Uh, I think he's a really good defender. His shot was a lot better at Arkansas this year. So they're adding an uber athletic defender with shooting upside, good rebounder, just a hard-nosed, gritty player that I think will really fit their defensive scheme, right? Adu Thiero, 24, going to Oklahoma City uh, with that pick there. And then at 25, we have the Orlando Magic. Uh, Taking Walter Clayton Jr., the guard out of Florida. Orlando was the worst offense in the league last year. There's no disputing that, really. Their shooting numbers, the three-point makes, they were horrendous in the half court. But they addressed some of those issues with the Desmond Bain trade, and here they are filling that issues again, right? They needed backcourt depth. They got rid of Cole Anthony. They needed shooting. Walter Clayton is one of the best bucket getters in this draft class and can add some backcourt depth. So Walter Clayton, 25, going to Orlando, keeping the Florida boy in the state. At 26, OKC Thunder are on the clock. I had them taking Danny Wolf. I really like this pick. He's a really fun offensive-minded center. I think Mark Dagnall can do some really fun things with him in the lineup, doing some fun, creative, just different variations of their lineup, right? And I think that Danny Wolf can really add some versatility, some backcourt depth. Chet Holmgren is an elite defensive player. Um, who wants to show a little bit more offensively, probably than he has in this playoff so far. Isaiah Hartenstein, we saw when there were some injuries this year, they didn't have the most depth. So I think Danny Wolf could add some depth, could add some offensive playmaking to the OKC Thunder team. So at 26, I have the Thunder taking Danny Wolf out of Michigan. Then number 27, we have the Nets up on the clock once more. I think if you're the Nets, you're just taking swings for high upside players, and I think Will Riley out of Illinois, the freshman wing, is a great upside pick. I think he's got a low floor. He's got to fill into his frame. I'm not sure he can handle the physicality right away. He needs to develop a better handle, but I think he could be a good wing scorer. So very high upside. You need guys 6'8" that can put the ball in the hoop. They already got Ace Bailey. They hope Will Riley can also do that. So they got Ace Bailey, they got Will Riley on the wings in this draft. And I think this is a fun building blocks on that wings for them. So Brooklyn Nets 27 taking Will Riley. Then at 28, I usually like to think the Celtics want to go with an NBA ready player, go with the center position. Um, but Liam McNeely has fallen on this board, so I have the Celtics taking Liam McNeely. He didn't quite tap into his high school reputation at UConn, but there was a lot of injuries. Um, Hopefully the shooting comes back to what it was in high school. It was pretty much at all levels an elite shooter except for at UConn. The Celtics don't let him slide it anymore. If anybody can tap into his full potential, it's going to be Joe Mazzulla and the Boston Celtics. So right here we have the Boston Celtics taking Liam McNeely, a freshman small forward out of UConn. At 29, we have the Phoenix Suns taking Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton, the four-time Defensive Player of the Year. I think he is an NBA ready center. They're out of the KD era. They need players that can play now. Kalkbrenner, I think, is NBA ready. Could maybe start for them at the center position, right? They're super light in the front court. Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think, has potential to do some stuff on the offensive end. He showed some intriguing stuff, I think, DHO wise at Creighton this last year. And he's the best rim protector in this class. So Ryan Kalkbrenner, 29 to Phoenix, is a good fit. And then to finish off this draft class, we have the LA Clippers taking Maxime Reynaud, the French center that played at Stanford this last year. I think they needed some front court help behind Ivica Zubac. And then Reynaud will give them some interior scoring on the bench. I think he's got good pick and pop potential. A lot of question marks on the defensive end, but they have surrounded that team with people like Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard. Uh, they got some really good defenders on that team, right? They're a defensive-minded team. I think they could use a little bit more offense. Maxime right now will give them some more offensive versatility for this team. And there you have it. That is the first round. That's my final mock draft. There's a couple trades in there. Let me know what you guys think. I'm really excited. This finals in tonight, then we're going to be fully into the NBA offseason. It'll be uh, draft season. It'll be off season time where trades, signings happening. So be on the lookout for more content. Be sure to check out it at all levels. We got the blog at hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. On YouTube, it's the Towel Boy, and on Spotify, the Towel Boy as well. So go ahead, be on the lookout, put on your notifications. Looking forward to that. Putting out more content as more stuff continues to happen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think, and we will catch you next time. Peace.